Hello and welcome to the Monster Sanctuary Tournament Circuit Quarterfinals. This is a match between Red and Sersch. I am the smug-looking barrel.
And I'm Conan the Librarian.
So we have two quite interesting teams before us. Red is running a charge stack team, but as you can see, he's running Gryphonix as one of his damage dealers, and Sersch is running Sidekick. So Red gets the first turn because he is first seed. And we're seeing a bit of an interesting setup from him. Goblin Miner, which is a monster we don't see that often, and Mimic on a T. While we do see a lot of Mimic, it's normally not on this kind of team.
I mean, all the same, while Miner may not be as popular, it's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, and it's certainly, with the changes in this patch, synergizing with Sidekick and able to grant buffs from it, it can really help its teammates perform. And we see Icy Shots on the first turn. Red is able to take out Sersch's Draconor, that's one of his main damage dealers.
Yeah, thankfully, Sersch designed his team to have a few options on that, along with the backups, Silviero and Asura, so he still has a chance.
So, with Cleansing Sidekick and Ornithopter's Innate Cleanse, he's able to get rid of a lot of buffs, and we do see one of the big advantages of Goblin Miner, Taunt, able to come in and protect that Mimic from an attack that might have knocked it out.
Yeah, thankfully just one of the many things which Miner adds to the table.
And Mimic already has a huge number of buffs, so it's going to be hitting very hard. We see the Restore coming out from King Blob, Heal charging, buffing up that Mimic's damage, and Shield from Goblin Miner. We see 3 Glory stacks onto Mimic, and a huge 1,000 Leaves. Unable to miss, which is helpful in this matchup against 3 monsters that have some dodge, able to take out Silvero through Phoenix Affinity.
Oh yeah, that extra bleed there really made it happen.
So Sersch has brought in Azarok. It seems like he's trying to use Ornithopter now as his team's damage dealer, or maybe not. He does let Azarok attack last, able to get some blind stacks onto that Mimic.
Yeah,
now, go on.
All the same, sometimes an Ornithopter can do a decent amount of damage, so it has that good flexibility.
It absolutely can. Now, King Blob does have Purify, but there are 4 blind stacks as well as 4 other stacks on Mimic, so the odds of it getting rid of all the blind stacks is not high. Instead, it seems to buff up Goblin Miner, and he might be using that to attack. Yeah, he's looking at the Boulder Toss damage. Boulder Toss also cannot be dodged.
Yeah, because of ultimate cooldowns, I can totally see why Red is taking advantage of the Boulder Toss. So using the Miner as a secondary DPS, I'd say that's a pretty good move.
Yeah, and doesn't get the crit, but doesn't need it, able to take out that Tsune. Sersch is down to his last monster, which is Asura, a very powerful monster, but it requires quite a bit of support. It really wants a whole bunch of buffs. Thankfully, Sersch's team can apply buffs quite quickly.
Well, and Asura itself is generally pretty good about buffing itself, depending on the build.
We do see the Fiery Punches, able to hit through Mimic's shield, but Mimic, fortunately, resisting neutral, which isn't that useful in most situations, but helps it out a lot here.
And as you see, that King Blob really just coming in clutch this game, that wonderful combo of Purify and debuff removal is great.
Yeah, it's able to keep all of Red's monsters healthy, and Sersch forfeits the game. So now Sersch gets the first turn because he lost, and it seems like both players are running back the same team, but we might see a different lead from Red, now that he knows he'll be attacked before he can do something.
Yeah, and while he does have that choice, I think the general tankiness of both King Blob and Goblin Miner is really going to make the difference. But I see choosing a Phoenix Affinity monster makes sense.
Yeah. And We do see Azarak and Draconor can both apply Blind very quickly, so even with King Blob able to remove 4 stacks from Griffinix, that's probably not enough. Now, Griffinix can remove stacks as well, but it's a damage dealer. It doesn't want to be sitting around healing. Oh, goes for the Soul Beam. Does do good damage, but brings Griffinix down to Phoenix Affinity.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about blind on the Griffonics because Griffonics tends to be a high combo count monster, so it can work through a couple of those blinds by itself without incredibly crippling its damage.
Yep. And down to just 2 blind stacks. Looking over damage, I expect he's going to attack with Miner first to build up more combo. Yes, he does. Goes for the Forge, gets some buffs up. And looking at Aerial Strike, it probably is enough to take out any monster he fires it at, but Spark Shower has less damage, it seems like, but can't miss, except for those 2 blind stacks.
Yeah, and again, using a high combo move, really good way to shake off those blind stacks instead of being too reliant on every hit actually hitting.
Yep. And those blind stacks, though, are enough to save Draconor. You see here the big benefit of Griffinix is, even after that attack, he still has 19 charge stacks. Griffinix has Slow Burn, which allows him to gain the full benefit of charge stacks while only using a third of them.
Oh yeah, it's a great way to ramp up throughout a match if left alive.
Yeah. So Sersch is going to try and take out this Griffinix here. Judging by the damage that Soul Beam did last turn, I'd say he has a reasonable chance to, but Griffinix is surprisingly tanky. And
Yeah,
there's also
and Draco Noir also has a weakness debuff on it right now, reducing its damage. So I'm not sure if that's enough to tip the scales.
This is a very important attack here for Sersch. He needs to take out that Griffinix this turn. Goes for the Soul Beam, thankfully doesn't get taunted, and Draconor, huge damage, is able to take out that Griffinix. Red switches in his Mimic, which I
Wow.
think is a sensible move. Mimic has Leaf Slash, which allows him to ignore dodge, and he has super effective moves for all of these monsters. And look at that 1,000 Leaves. With the Bleed, is able to get a full team wipe.
Oh yes. I mean, unfortunately for Sersch, Mimic is just a really big pain to deal with. That all that undodgeable earth damage, that's gonna be a problem.
I also like sending it out after a kill, because Mimic with the Dark Shift has mana potential, which means it does more damage if it has full mana, and this way he can fire off an ultimate without needing to worry about, having low mana from having attacked previous turns.
Or from Chiller, such effects.
Look at all of those buffs on Mimic. So King Blob gonna go for the restore, cleanses the buffs, cleanses the debuffs rather, purifies the stacks and gets some charge stacks. We see a Forge from Goblin Miner, and the Leaf Slash takes down Sutsune. Very smart of Red to target that down first, as that's Sersch's only revive user. And Sersch forfeits from there.
Yeah, definitely a tough match there. I'm not entirely sure how Sersch is planning on breaking through this next match. I mean, that King Blob and Goblin Miner have been basically untouched by any real threat. And again, that undodgeable earth damage, I'm not sure how he's going to deal with that.
Yeah, there's really nothing on Sersch's team, aside from Chilling Wind from Silvero, that can hit Mimic super effectively. So it has more durability than you'd expect from a monster weak to magic. We see Sersch changing up his lead here, running Silvero. And we see a Gale from Ornithopter able to cleanse a few buffs and apply Shock. That's always good.
Yeah, I mean, trying to keep the buffs under control will definitely be something very important to Sersch in this match.
Yeah. The real thing you want for this is Cleansing Sidekick, but Sutsune is probably too valuable to be able to lead with if you know you can't get multiple kills on turn 1. Red is definitely going to focus it down.
Yeah, keeping it in the back line for potential revive strategies later is good.
So Red looking over his damage ranges. He is going to go for the full heal on Griffinix, not only healing it up and cleansing that blind, but giving it some buffs. And
yes, and I also noticed how Sersch this time was actually trying to take out the King Blob because I think he's recognizing just how much of a threat it is.
yeah, being able to heal, being able to keep the team alive is very important, as well as it's contributing a not trivial amount of damage just with those charge stacks. So we see the shred from Griffinix. Thankfully, all of Sersch's monsters survive, but Sersch doesn't really have a dedicated healer on this squad. Azarat could, but it really wants to be attacking instead. So that damage is going to stick more than it would on Red's team, where he can just heal it up with King Blood.
Yeah, I mean, as you've seen, Sersch is definitely going more for an offensive team instead of sustain. So it's calculated.
We do see big damage onto Griffinix, and Silvero might be able to get enough bleed. Alright, chooses to target down the King Blob and is able to take it out. Now we see Targoat, a very powerful monster, able to shield the team, block with Protect, as well as give them charge stacks.
Yeah, I mean, breaking through both a Targo and a Miner, that's a pretty hard task right there.
Yeah. However, that is Red's only source of stack removal gone, so he is going to have to fight through those 4 blind stacks. We do see the Mega Protect getting some charge stacks, as well as allowing Targo to tank 1 hit from the next attack at each of Red's other monsters.
Yeah, and actually having blind be a big factor in this match is going to be one of the things that will actually give Sersch a chance to come from behind in this series.
Now, Goblin Miner continuing to set up Forge. Shield for the full team is really nice, and Glory is an excellent stack both for it and for Griffinix. So we do see the Spark Shower able to bring Silvero down to Phoenix Affinity. Thankfully, it does survive.
Yeah, thankfully no bleed to deal with that time.
So we see 6 Sidekick stacks on this Ornithopter, so it could theoretically get quite a few hits and cleanse a few buffs if it's able to get a big attack going. But so we do see the Gale. Sersch opts to build as much combo as he can rather than break one of the protects on Red's monsters.
You know, there is still some wisdom in doing that to try to keep the buffs under control.
Yep. Azarak doing the same, goes for the Shadow Storm. Unfortunately, alright, well,
There you go.
Silvero does do very high damage if he can get those sidekick stacks going with Cascade.
Yep, there went that goat. That was a very hard wall to knock down, but he did it.
So now, Red is forced to fight with 2 damage dealers, which is not the most ideal, but at least he still has Goblin Miner as a great anchor.
Yeah, not only that, but definitely the Eagle also having Phoenix Affinity, just more insurance that he can still actually get a kill off with it.
Exactly. Red, looking over his damage previews here, if he gets lucky, he could take out the Silvero, and he does. And then Eagle, having Sure Strike will really help it take out this Ornithopter, but I think it needs to hit at least 1 more of those, and probably get a crit on it as well. Here we go! Oh, and the Poison able to take down the Ornithopter. Bad luck with the crits, but Ornithopter still goes down.
Yep, and thankfully it's still anyone's match at this point, as both players still have 4 monsters remaining.
Yep, and Sersch gets first crack. He gets to attack here and hopefully take down something else. Now we see Sitsune able to get a ton of sidekick stacks up. So Azaric has 7, which will not only add more combo, but Azaric has a chance to apply a blind stack whenever it hits. And those sidekick stacks will help with that.
Yeah, and Setsune's light shift of buff mastery, allowing for an extra instance of every buff, really helps at this phase of the match.
Unfortunately, not getting any procs on blind there, though it does get some bleed from Sitsune's blood magic. And now we see Asura deciding who to attack. Goes for the punch combo. Doesn't take out the Griffinix. That is unfortunate, but the combination of lifesteal and assistance on Asura is able to get it some sidekick stacks. That'll make its next attack hit a lot harder.
Yeah, pending it survives this round.
Yeah, though considering it also has Phoenix affinity, Red would have to invest a lot into trying to take down Asura this turn.
Yeah, looking at the damage previews, it seems that that's unlikely.
So Eagle either is going to go for a Thunder Strike and risk the 40% miss, or it could go for just an attack to build combo.
Yeah, I think at this point in the match, Red is really starting to feel the lack of support on his team.
Yeah. So Eagle does choose to just build some combo. Here we see another benefit, another thing that is working in favor of Sersch. Griffinix has only one move that can't be dodged, and it's fire against a full team that resists fire. And you see big dodge numbers on Sersch's entire team from evasion and buffs. And as a result, Azarac stays alive another turn.
Oh, always love that full heal coming in clutch.
Yep, able to bring Azarac back to fighting condition. It does have 2 armor break stacks, which is quite dangerous, but Red doesn't really have the potential to build a ton of combo or get a bunch of buffs or something else that would let him threaten kills easily. And we also see Asura is going to get another attack off here, and might be able to actually bring something down, especially with blood magic from Sutsune.
Yeah, I don't think Azarac is too worried about those armor breaks, though. It's pretty squishy already, it's more about dodging.
Yeah, and we do see the taunt coming in from Goblin Miner. That 25% always hurts to see.
Oh
But,
yeah, it can make a big difference, but I'm not feeling as confident that Red is going to be able to break down through Sersch's wall right now.
Absolutely, especially since it's a wall that you just can't hit, which is rather unusual for walls. But the massive dodge chance. Red's options for ignoring dodge are Thunder Strike, but that's ruined by Blind, and Spark Shower, which Sersch's entire team resists. So
Yeah, and one of the other boons here is the fact that Asura has buff Catalyst, which increases the effects of buffs on it, which again increases the amount of dodge chance.
Yep. It also, we haven't seen it use an ultimate yet, but most of them run Godly Strikes, and that could be the extra damage Sersch needs to sort of break through the stalemate. Azarac able to survive again.
When it comes for the extra damage to break through, if I had to guess, I think Sersch may have the advantage when it comes to infinity stacks, given that Red's issue is landing the hits.
That is certainly true. And we see the Arcane Diffusion combined with Cleansing Sidekick is able to remove every single buff from Griffinix.
Oh yeah, without the supports to actually put it on quickly, Red is feeling that.
Yep. Sersch considering Asura's attack. If he doesn't get taunted, I'm pretty sure he could take down Griffinix here. Maybe also Eagle? I'm pretty sure Phoenix Affinity is still up for Eagle, but Depending on if he gets lucky with blood magic, he might be able to kill it anyway. Targets down the Goblin Miner and is able to take it out. I like this because now Red has no support at all. He has to just try and make it work with just 3 damage dealers.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the right move to get rid of the Goblin Miner because even with just the support of the Miner, his Mimic would have way more chance to take down Sersch's monsters.
Yep. Mimic here does have Leaf Slash, which is super effective and can't be dodged. So we're going to see. It seems like Red is going to use his other monsters' attacks to build as much combo as he can to try and take a Zarak out with Leaf Slash.
And ooh, that margin is really
Yeah,
close.
it's going to be close. All right, does take it out. That's very good. But Sersch does have another monster as backup. It's Nor. Mass Restore, so good on Setsune. Not only can it, does it also cleanse debuffs and stacks, but with critical healing plus critical boon, Setsune can use it to apply buffs.
Oh yes, a lot in one button press. All right, we'll see if Sersch can clean this up, because if not, every shot that Red gets will count.
So brings Griffinix down to Phoenix Affinity. Griffinix and Eagle both have Revive, but neither of them really want to be using it. They want to be attacking. So
Yeah, if possible.
yeah. So once Red is forced to start using Revive, that seems like the end of the road for him.
Yeah, one small advantage that Red has is the fact that Eagle has Age and has 4 stacks of that already.
Yep. Unfortunately, it does survive there. Not enough blood magic procs to get the bleed, but now Phoenix Affinity is down on both of Red's damage dealers, and it seems like Sersch is going to try and take them both out in one turn to prevent them from being revived at all.
Yeah, in this case, Red seems to have one last shot, especially with getting the first Infinity stack.
Yep. And Eagle doing its best to build combo. That is some reasonable damage previews from Mimic. If he can take out Setsune, that is again Sersch's only monster that has any form of revive. Debating which attack to use. Looks like he's going for the Feather Storm. And he's going to need some very good rolls in order to take out Setsune with his Leaf Slash. He'll probably need to crit on every single hit, but it's possible. Looks like it wasn't enough, and now Sersch with an Infinity Sack can probably put this game away.
Yeah,
Setsune goes for the full heal, puts it back, gets itself back to full again.
Yeah, Sersch being very careful here, doesn't want to mess up this opportunity.
So we're probably going to see a flurry of blows, if I would guess. And yes, we do. Almost takes out Mimic, despite the fact that Mimic resists it, and the bleed takes it out. Alright, game 4. So, because Red lost the last game, he gets to go first, and he switched up his strategy. We see 2 new monsters, Brutus and Vertrag. And it looks like Red is going to lead Brutus to try and get in, set up a power focus, and wipe Sersch's team on the second turn.
Yeah, and I can see the point why he decided to change a little bit. Brutus to help in the earlier parts of the matches, and then Vertrag in case the match drags out like it did last time. So, changing it up a little bit.
Exactly. So, he only gets 2 actions on the first turn, which means... Alright, so he goes for the full protect and power focus. So on the next turn, Brutus's next attack will deal a huge amount of damage, but at most, he can remove 4 blind stacks. So Sersch needs to get as many blind stacks as possible onto this Brutus.
hmm as you were saying, though, given the fact that Red only got 2 actions, you see how there's only a 2 by the focus for Brutus? That means it's only a 66% increased damage next time instead of the full 100.
Yep. And we do see 8 blind stacks on Brutus from 2 powerful attacks from Azarak and Draconor, as well as 2 tether stacks, and one of those gets cleansed uh, by Red's Purify. So Red might opt. Ooh, that's. It looks like he could still kill anything he hits, though. But
I mean, especially with that many charge stacks.
yeah. So Targo's going to refresh the full protect, and we'll see what this happens. Draconor barely survives, and the other 2 monsters just get squished.
Yeah, that was a huge hit. I thought it was gonna get all 3, but not quite.
Yeah, Draconor, having heroic defense and just a couple buffs helps out a surprising amount. However, Sersch now has to deal with the fact that he still hasn't really made any progress into this team. Red's monsters are all still at full health.
Yeah, and especially given the lack of Ornithopter, I'm not sure how he's going to deal with Red's buffs at this point.
Yeah, he might be able to take out Brutus here if he targets it down, but Red still has Mimic and Griffinix backing it up. Yeah, does
Yeah,
go for the
it's
Shadow Grasp, and we do see big damage from Draconor. That was only the second attack. And Asura does use Punch Combo to take out the Brutus.
yeah, and even though taking out the Brutus is indeed a victory, at the same time, because Red still has a strong core of Targot and King Blob, it's not really the end of the world for Red.
Yeah, so Red chooses to bring in Griffinix. Targo running a little out of mana. That one chill debuff is actually hurting him here. He can't use the max level of full protect, but he should still be able to both spread some charge stacks and keep his team safe. Gonna go for the shield, which adds more charge stacks overall and shields the full team. And here's the Griffinix Shred, finishes off the Nor and brings Silvero down to Phoenix Affinity.
Yeah, things do not look that good for Sir.
We see the full heal, able to bring Silvero back up, but Sersch really wants to be able to take out this Griffinix, since Red got aggressive using the shield for more charge stacks, but Griffinix still has its Phoenix Affinity up as well.
Yeah, exactly. Why he's not necessarily as concerned. Same for the fact that he still has the backup Mimic.
So Sersch debating his option. Looks like he's going to try and take out the supports, going to start attacking Targot, and the Chilling Wind from Silvero. So much damage. Silvero always surprises me with how effective it is.
Oh, definitely a favorite of mine.
Yeah. That Cascade, combined with the Psychic stacks and improved Sidekick, goes so far. And once again, huge number of buffs on the Griffinix. King Glove says, have a few more.
Takes a moment to admire those buffs, huh?
Yep. We have Vertrek here, who also has Purify, and can shield Griffinix a little more. And that Shred looks mighty dangerous. Yeah, and taking
Yeah.
out Sutune and Silvero, this game is over.
Yep, it is over.
So, Asura standing valiantly, but it is not going to take out 4 monsters, and Sersch forfeits.